We love to be terrified by massive threats. We are spooked by comets, viruses, and rogue neural networks. We swallow handfuls of vitamins, install smart alarms, and maniacally jiggle our door handles before going to sleep. It feels incredibly cozy to hide inside this illusion of total control, but while you are waiting for the apocalypse outside, your very own comfort zone is methodically and cynically finishing you off. Our daily life is an invisible minefield where your most harmless everyday habits destroy your body faster and more reliably than any maniac from the news. I invite you to the anatomical table of everyday life, where right now we will ruthlessly dissect your routine. Could you ever imagine that a regular store receipt poisons your hormonal system right through your skin, that the snooze button on your alarm clock wears out your heart, and that a hand dryer shoots microparticles of feces right at you? You will find out how sleeping on your stomach silently strangles your brain every single night, and how your cutting board feeds you poison. This is not cheap paranoia. This is your survival guide inside your own apartment, and today it is going to save your life. Throw your illusions in the trash. Let us start the timer. Number 1. Suffocating coziness. Picture a cozy bedroom, darkness, silence. We lie down on our stomachs. We bury our faces in a soft pillow. It feels like a posture of absolute peace, a perfect simulation of safety. But beneath the skin, an anatomical thriller is unfolding. By turning our heads to the side, we twist our most vital highways. The carotid arteries get compressed. Blood flow drops to a critical minimum. It is just like a pinched garden hose. Our main server is left without power. The brain suffocates for hours in the dark vault of the skull. Oxygen starvation grows with every passing minute. We think we are rebooting the system. In reality, we are putting it through a brutal survival stress test. The creator clearly slacked off during the neck design phase. There is absolutely no protection against accidentally twisting the cable. Our self-preservation instinct is simply asleep at this moment. The base firmware suffers a fatal crash. In the morning, we wake up with a head made of lead. We blame the bad weather. We complain about magnetic storms. But the real reason is hidden in a trivial engineering flaw. Our biosuit is just not designed for hibernation in the pose of a flattened frog. Apparently, it was a short workday in the heavenly office. Number 2. The self-destruct button. The alarm rings. It is a gray morning outside. Your hand reflexively reaches for the saving snooze button. Just 5 more minutes of sweet oblivion. We are certain that we are stealing a little bit of happiness from the Matrix. The mechanics of this process are completely different. Every single press brutally breaks your sleep cycle. The body has just started to exit sleep mode, and we pull the switch right back down. The system panics. The adrenal glands receive an emergency alarm. The blood is flooded with a cocktail of stress hormones. Cortisol hammers the blood vessels. This is the equivalent of rebooting a computer right in the middle of a core driver update. The heart wears out from such constant voltage spikes. We try to wake up gently, but instead we launch a chemical bombardment protocol against our own organs. The cruel irony is that we voluntarily pay with our health for the mere illusion of rest. The creators of phone interfaces were clearly mocking us. They gave us a comfort button that works like a heart attack detonator. Excellent dark humor from the developers. Number 3. Acid peeling for the jaw. A scene from the classic morning of a successful person. A hearty breakfast, a glass of orange juice, a brisk walk to the bathroom, a toothbrush, mint paste, vigorous scrubbing. We sincerely believe in our flawless hygiene. We are saving our smile from cavities. It sounds like the rambling of a madman, but at this very moment we are committing dental harakiri. The fruit acids from the food instantly soften the enamel. It becomes loose, just like wet sand. And then we take hard bristles and start furiously scrubbing away. The protective layer is literally ground into powder. It is as if we are trying to wash a car using sandpaper. The factory protection of our teeth is zeroed out by our own hands. Microscopic scratches open up a clear path for bacteria. We invest in expensive pastes. We spend time on procedures. But in the end, we are just helping the acid destroy our calcium much faster. Nature did not provide a defense against such excessive cleanliness. Our internal antivirus is powerless against a mechanical hack of the system. We pay dentists simply because we tried way too hard to be perfect. Number 4. Toxic bookkeeping. A routine trip to the supermarket. The cashier hands you a receipt. We mechanically shove it into a jacket pocket. Then we find it, crumple it up, and toss it on the table. We think it is just a piece of paper. Proof of purchase. Harmless trash. In reality, it is a chemical Trojan horse. Thermal paper is covered with a thick layer of bisphenol A. This substance does not need to be swallowed through the mouth. It penetrates straight through the pores on your fingers. It literally soaks into the textures of our avatar. Bisphenol masterfully disguises itself as female hormones. It enters the bloodstream and creates absolute chaos. The endocrine system starts throwing a blue screen of death. The metabolism breaks down. Reproductive settings go completely off track. We hoard these little papers to control our finances. But in reality, we are building an archive of slow-acting systemic poisons. The Matrix charges us twice. First, it deducts money from your card, and then it quietly deducts years of healthy life through the tips of your fingers. A perfect crime with a printed receipt. Number 5. Pug aerodynamics. A tense work day. We stare at the monitor. Our lips are slightly parted. Air quietly passes through the mouth. At first glance, nothing criminal is happening. The main thing is that the ventilation works. This is a phenomenal perception error. Mouth breathing triggers a critical bug in your facial architecture. The jaw gradually drops. Facial muscles lose their tone. The bones of the skull begin to slowly deform under the new angle of pressure. We are literally ruining our original three-dimensional model, but this is only the visual side of the failure. The lungs are shortchanged by exactly 20% of their oxygen supply. The filters in the nose sit completely idle. The brain goes into power-saving mode due to hypoxia. Focus drops. Productivity collapses. Evolution gifted us perfect climate control with a built-in purification system, a complex labyrinth of nasal sinuses. Yet we ignore this premium software. We prefer to breathe through a backup emergency valve. Nature is clearly in shock at how poorly we use the provided equipment. We turn ourselves into an outdated model with terrible aerodynamics. Number 6. Boiling the biosuit. A winter evening. The frost bites our cheeks. We return home and jump right into a hot shower. We turn the water up to the maximum. The room fills with thick steam. We feel warm and cozy. We wash away the fatigue of a hard day. The technical summary of this process looks terrifying. Our skin is covered with the thinnest lipid layer. This is a complex natural firewall, a defense against external threats. Jets of boiling water mercilessly destroy this barrier in just a couple of minutes. The protective coat is wiped clean. The skin becomes dry and covered with micro cracks. We are left absolutely naked before an army of microbes, viruses, and allergens. Antibacterium can now easily bypass the deleted security system. We just wanted to get warm, and in the end, we voluntarily uninstalled the antivirus from our main shell. Now the immune system will have to spend colossal resources to rebuild the breached shields. We boil ourselves like dumplings in a pot, sincerely believing in the healing power of scalding water. It is amazing how much we love destroying our factory settings for just a minute of comfort. Number 7. Plastic side dish. The kitchen. A sharp chef knife. A brightly colored plastic cutting board. We are chopping fresh vegetables for a healthy salad, rejoicing in our clean eating habits. Our ancestors chopped meat on oak blocks, but we chose lightweight polymers. Easy to wash. Looks pretty, but the mechanics of the hidden damage here boggle the mind. Every touch of the blade slices off microscopic particles of polymer. They mix with the tomato juice. They stick to the greens. We send all of this straight onto our plates. Over a year of such culinary sessions, we consume a volume of plastic equal to an entire credit card. Our stomach turns into a disposal container for petrochemical waste. We integrate synthetics right into our source code. These particles settle in our blood vessels. They accumulate in our tissues. We carefully select organic farm products. We pay triple the price for environmentally friendly labels. And then we generously season them with microplastics from our favorite green board. The banking system has finally penetrated us physically. The card payment was successful. Number 8. The hypertensive knot. An office chair. An important meeting. We elegantly cross one leg over the other. The posture of a confident person. A demonstration of total relaxation. It feels comfortable to sit in such a twisted position. Down in the servers of the circulatory system, a siren is wailing. The weight of the top leg brutally crushes the perineal nerve. Blood vessels are squeezed tight under the weight of the bones. Blood struggles to push through this anatomical traffic jam. The heart is forced to increase the pressure just just to force the liquid through the highways. Blood pressure makes a hidden spike. We sit there and smile at our colleagues, but our internal pump is working itself to the bone. The risk of thrombosis grows with every minute of this elegant pose. We are twisting our data cables like a negligent system administrator. We disrupt the routing of vital packets. For the sake of aesthetics, we sabotage the entire internal logistics network. Elegance demands sacrifice, and more often than not, these sacrifices are our very own veins. Physics is merciless to those who ignore the operating rules of their joints. Number 9. Tea roulette. Winter. A large porcelain mug. Thick steam rises above the tea. We blow on the liquid and take a scalding sip. A pleasant warmth spreads through the chest. A feeling of homey coziness and peace. Medical reality destroys this cozy picture. The World Health Organization has classified liquids hotter than 65 degrees as a carcinogen. Every such tea break is a thermal strike against the delicate tissues of the esophagus. Mucosal cells are boiled alive. The burn forces the tissue into emergency regeneration. The constant forced rewriting of cells increases the risk of mutations at an exponential rate. We are literally stress testing our internal cooler with a blowtorch, enjoying the process of slowly destroying our digestive tract. We are terrified of chemicals in our food. We read labels, we look for eco badges, and then we pour boiling water down our throats, launching a cellular degradation protocol. Comfort in a cup, sponsored by the oncology department. Fate absolutely loves these hot jokes. Number 10. The throne with consequences. Morning, the bathroom. We sit on the toilet and take out our smartphone. We open our news feed. We check our email. Time flies by unnoticed. The toilet has turned into a branch of a co-working space, a safe zone of silence. The architecture of the pelvic floor strongly disagrees with this schedule. The toilet bowl has no solid support in the center. Gravity mercilessly pulls the tissues downward. The veins of the rectum swell with blood. The pressure in the pelvis rises to critical levels. Sitting for too long turns us into perfect candidates for the operating table. This is the main reason for the hemorrhoid epidemic among the millennial generation. We are overloading the server rack in the lowest dungeon of our castle. The engineers of evolution calculated that this process would be fast. Squat in the bushes, do the deed, run away from the saber-toothed tiger. They did not include doom scrolling through social networks in the project blueprint. We traded anatomical safety for funny cat videos. The payback comes slowly, but it is extremely painful. Number 11. The fake eclipse. An early summer morning, we step out of the house. The sun has just risen, but we are already putting on stylish sunglasses. We want to look cool, protect our eyes from the glare on the windshield. The internal operating system catches a fatal bug. Our eyes are our primary light sensors. They send data about the time of day straight to the hypothalamus. Dark lenses swap out the data packets. The brain gets a signal saying it is still twilight outside. Circadian rhythms instantly go off track. The production of wakefulness hormones is halted. The internal clock loses synchronization with the real-world time server. By evening, this will turn into severe insomnia. The body simply will not understand when it is time to fall asleep. We hacked our own time zone settings for the sake of a trendy accessory. The hack was successful, but the sleep cooling system is now broken. We look like rock stars in the morning, and at night we suffer from thoughts about the fragility of existence while staring at the ceiling. Luxurious style always requires payment in cold, hard hormones. Number 12. The bombshell effect. It seems that at this point, logic has left the chat, but we're just getting warmed up. If you think that was a bug, just wait. Next up are the real coding errors. A quiet office space. An important presentation is underway. Suddenly, a treacherous tickle starts in your nose. A massive sneeze is brewing. We pinch our nose with our hand and tightly squeeze our lips together. A muffled squeak escapes. We saved the silence. Our colleagues noticed absolutely nothing. Internal ballistics are horrified by our heroism. Air was flying outward at hurricane speeds. We abruptly blocked its exit. The shockwave does not just disappear, it hits backward. The pressure in the airways jumps tens of times. This energy looks for the weakest link in our texture. It rushes straight into the eustachian tubes. It can easily rupture the eardrum, or, what is much more fun, tear a small blood vessel in the brain. We are literally plugging the exhaust pipe of a launching rocket, trying to contain an explosion inside a cardboard box. Our politeness carries the destructive potential of an artillery shell. We risk getting a microstroke just so we do not violate business etiquette. Good manners kill in the most literal sense of the word. Number 13, the fecal tornado, a public restroom in a shopping mall. We carefully washed our hands with soap. We are proud of our cleanliness. We walk up to the powerful electric dryer. We hold out our palms. A roaring stream of hot air blows away the moisture. We feel perfectly sterile. Aerosol physics is writing a horror movie script at this very moment. Toilets without lids eject an invisible cloud of excrement microparticles into the air with every single flush. The dryer works like a massive vacuum cleaner. It sucks this rich biological cocktail out of the stall atmosphere, heats it up for your comfort, and then, with the speed of a race car, drives it right into your moist, freshly washed pores. We are using a fast travel system for someone else's intestinal bacteria. The machine is not drying our hands, it is carefully marinating them in an invisible toilet soup. We wanted perfect hygiene without wasting paper towels, and instead we got a portable biological weapon sprayer right in the face. Technology sometimes works a little too well. Number 14, the bacteriological spray gun. Weekend cooking. We are making dinner. We take a raw chicken carcass out of the fridge. We put it in the sink and turn on the tap. We thoroughly wash the meat under running water. Grandma taught us to wash off the dirt. It seems absolutely logical. Microbiology is laughing at our naivety. Water is incapable of killing Campylobacter or Salmonella bacteria, but the falling drops work as a perfect catapult mechanism. Hitting the uneven surface of the bird, the water splashes in a 1-meter radius. The invisible spray carries an army of deadly microbes. They settle down on clean plates, on the cutting board, on our clothes. We just cast a massive toxic area of effect spell across the entire kitchen. We wanted to clean up before cooking, and in reality, we organized an infectious disease festival on our own countertop. We are personally dropping enemy paratroopers right onto our strategic facilities. Culinary vigilance played a very cruel joke on us. Number 15, permanent panic mode. A regular day at the computer. Shoulders are tense, back is hunched. We are breathing quickly and shallowly. Air barely fills the upper part of the chest. The stomach is pulled in. We do not even notice this pattern. Biochemistry perceives this as the signal for the beginning of the apocalypse. Deep diaphragmatic breathing tells the brain that we are safe. Shallow chest breathing is a trigger for the ancient fight or flight instinct. The organism decides that a predator is chasing us. The nervous system shifts into combat readiness mode. We constantly keep our processor running at 100% load. Resources are burned completely in vain. We are sitting in a safe chair, typing an email, and the body is preparing for a mortal battle with a saber-toothed tiger. This background stress slowly burns out our neural connections. We are draining our battery because we forgot to close a heavy background application. Nature gave us a complex tool for controlling emotions through our lungs, and we use it to permanently drive ourselves crazy right at our workplace. Number 16, a greenhouse for microbes, riding the subway. The noise of the train cars is annoying. We take out our favorite wireless earbuds. We plug them tightly into our ear canals. We turn on a podcast. The outside world is completely shut off. Personal acoustic nirvana sets in. The microflora of the ear is throwing a housewarming party. The ear canal is a dark, moist, and warm place. A perfect bioreactor. The silicone tip tightly blocks all ventilation. Air exchange stops entirely. The temperature inside rises slightly. In just 1 hour of listening to music, the number of bacteria inside this isolated capsule grows 700 times. We are building an incubator for Staphylococcus in the most vulnerable port of our system unit. We leave the microbes the keys to our eardrum. Music heals our emotional wounds, but in parallel, it turns our hearing apparatus into a rotting swamp. We pay for silence with the prospect of chronic otitis. The sound engineers took great care of the bass, but they forgot to build a crankcase ventilation system into the gadget. Number 17, the dental Trojan, late evening. We have zero energy left. We sluggishly brush our teeth. We look at the dental floss. We decide that tonight we can skip this boring step. Nothing terrible will happen in just one night. Cardiologists look at this choice with undisguised horror. Microscopic food particles remain trapped between the teeth. Streptococcus starts to feast right there. The bacteria that cause cavities do not just sit still. The gums are threaded with thousands of tiny capillaries. The The microbes slip straight into the bloodstream. This is a hacker attack through a forgotten open port. They travel through the veins and arteries. Their favorite target is the valves of the human heart. They settle right there, causing invisible microinflammations. Infectious endocarditis begins exactly like this. We think we were just too lazy to clean the spaces between our teeth, but in reality, we let a Trojan virus go straight to the motherboard. The distance from a lazy evening in the bathroom to the intensive care unit is frighteningly short. Dental floss turned out to be a level 1 security patch. Number 18, photonic sabotage, deep night. We fell asleep on the couch. The TV is running. Blue and red glares from the screen dance around the room. Our eyes are closed. We are sleeping and dreaming. It seems the light does not bother us at all. Endocrinology shatters this illusion entirely. Our closed eyelids are translucent. Retinal receptors pick up the light waves. The pineal gland, a tiny gland in the brain, receives a command to stop the assembly line. The production of melatonin is blocked. And this is not just a sleep hormone, it is the main nighttime janitor. Without it, the system cannot defragment the memory. Even worse, a melatonin crash directly breaks the metabolism. Glucose is processed poorly. The risk of depression shoots into space. Weight begins to grow out of nowhere. We leave the monitor on, hoping the system will go into sleep mode on its own, but it does not. The pixel radiating screen becomes the main sponsor of our waistline and our morning sadness. The light at the end of the tunnel turned out to be the light bulb inside the fridge of our depression. Number 19, lopsided scoliosis. Morning, we rush out of the apartment. We throw a heavy bag with a laptop over one shoulder. It is more convenient. It is faster. We are used to this slight bodily tilt. The biomechanics of our skeleton groan from this kind of exploitation. To keep the bag from sliding down, we instinctively raise one shoulder. The spine bends into an arc. The muscular corset of the neck turns to stone on one side. Nerve roots are slowly, millimeter by millimeter, pinched between the vertebrae. It is like a bug in a physics engine. Our avatar is constantly walking around with skewed textures. Blood flow to the back of the head is compromised. Chronic unexplained migraines appear. We pop headache pills. We go for massages. We change our pillows, but the cause hangs right there on our right shoulder every single day. We carry our baggage of knowledge to work, and in the evening, we bring home a pinched nerve and a crooked frame. Asymmetry is only beautiful in modern art. In anatomy, it is a guaranteed path to broken parts. Number 20, the Jaw Ice Age. A hot day. We finish an ice-cold cocktail. Ice cubes are left at the bottom of the glass. We toss them into our mouths and crunch them to pieces. Refreshing coolness and a satisfying sound. Powerful jaws easily deal with frozen water. Dentists grab their heads in despair at this very moment. Tooth enamel is the hardest tissue in our body, but it is critically fragile to sudden temperature drops and hard impacts. The hardness of ice is comparable to stone. We are literally hitting glass with a hammer. Micro cracks form right inside the tooth. They are totally invisible to the eye. They do not hurt, but the structure is already compromised. We are conducting a brutal stress test on load-bearing structures, and then, one fine day, we bite into a soft bun and the tooth simply splits in half. A critical error has been accumulating for months. The strongest material in our body surrendered to a piece of frozen water. We defeated the ice, but we lost the war for the integrity of our facade. Number 21, the Teflon Fog. A weekend morning. We decide to fry the perfect eggs. We put a non-stick frying pan on maximum heat. No oil needed. We stand for healthy eating. We wait for it to get properly sizzling. Polymer chemistry is preparing a massive surprise for us. When heated above certain temperatures, Teflon begins to degrade. It silently releases invisible toxic gases into the air. Perfluorooctanoic acid rises straight to our nostrils. A condition known as Teflon flu occurs. Chills, coughing, body aches. We think we caught a cold under the air conditioner, but in reality, we inhaled the fumes of melting plastic. We overheated the graphics card to the point where the casing plastic started to melt. We wanted to make breakfast without extra calories, and we got a dose of chemical weapons right over the stove. Modern frying pan technologies saved us from burnt food, but they added invisible carcinogens right to our menu. Progress always demands sacrifices on the altar of convenience. Number 22, the Denim Inquisition, getting ready for a party. We pull on tight, form-fitting jeans. We suck our stomachs in. We button up with noticeable effort. The silhouette looks perfect. Self-esteem goes up. Gastroenterology and neurology are sounding the alarm. The dense fabric squeezes the stomach, blocking the normal function of the intestines. Digestion stops in a dead traffic jam. But that is not the finale. The lateral cutaneous nerve runs right across the hips. Hard seams dig into it with a death grip. Strange numbness and tingling in the legs appear. Bernhardt-Roth syndrome in action. We literally zipped up the lower half of our body so tightly that we corrupted the files during compression. Blood circulation in the pelvis is severely disrupted. We stand there looking beautiful and trendy, but inside us a massive humanitarian catastrophe is unfolding. Fashion demands sacrifices, and we obediently surrender our peripheral nerves and our stomachs to be torn to shreds. But hey, absolutely no wrinkles in the photos. Number 23, the plastic hormone. At this stage, the scriptwriters of reality apparently went to lunch and trusted an intern to write the plot. Can you smell that? That is the smell of the processor of common sense burning, summer heat. We get into a car baked by the sun. A forgotten plastic water bottle lies on the passenger seat. Our throat is totally parched. We unscrew the cap and greedily drink the warm water. Quenching our thirst feels like salvation. Toxicology looks at this as pure suicide. When heated, cheap plastic is completely unstable. It begins to actively release phthalates and antimony into the water. In the body, these substances act like fake estrogens. They bind to receptors and completely deceive the endocrine system. We are installing an unlicensed mod into our hormonal control panel. The code starts throwing massive errors. Men suffer a testosterone crash. Women get absolute chaos in their cycles. We just drank some water in a traffic jam, but in reality, we drank a cocktail of chemical imposters that shattered our biological settings. Thirst is quenched. The metabolism is deeply offended. Number 24, high-speed calorie loading, an office lunch break. We have exactly 15 minutes before the next call. We literally swallow our food, barely chewing it. We wash it down with water so it slides down faster. We won the race against time. Dietetics is recording a systemic crash. Our body has incredibly strict timing. The stomach sends a satiety signal to the brain only 20 minutes after the meal begins. This is the ping between the server and the client. By throwing food down at machine gun speed, we outrun this signal. By the time the brain finally realizes that we are full, the stomach is already stretched to its limit by a double portion. Insulin jumps to the absolute heavens. Receptors lose their sensitivity. Metabolism breaks down, opening a direct highway to resistance and diabetes. We are using a speedrun strategy in a game where we just needed to walk slowly. We saved 10 minutes of time, and we wasted several months of pancreas durability. Efficient time management just utterly destroyed our digestive database. Number 25, the keyboard banquet. We do not leave for lunch. We stay right at our desk. We chew a sandwich while continuing to type text. Crumbs fall right between the keys. We feel like we are maximally productive, combining business with pleasure. Microbiologists are watching this breeding ground with intense interest. The average office keyboard hosts 400 times more bacteria than a public toilet seat. Sweat, dust, dead skin flakes, and crumbs gather under the buttons. This is an absolutely perfect culture medium, a true metropolis for pathogens. We touch the keys with dirty hands, then grab our bread, then type again. We are feeding the biological raid bosses living under the spacebar. Our workspace is a flourishing ecosystem. Unfortunately for our immune system, we are at the very bottom of this food chain. We are terrified of microbes in restrooms, yet we have our lunch right on top of a bacteriological reactor, tapping our fingers all over it. Workaholism turned out to be contagious in the most literal sense. Number 26, the toxic archive. The boss scolded us. A client was rude on the phone. We clenched our teeth. We forced a polite smile. We suppressed the anger deep inside. We pride ourselves on our professional restraint. We are adults. We know how to hold ourselves together. Psychosomatics is giving us a standing ovation. An unexpressed emotion does not just dissolve into thin air. It is a chemical impulse that absolutely must find an exit. Adrenaline and cortisol are already in the blood. We strictly forbade them from discharging through shouting or action. The hormonal cocktail starts wandering aimlessly through the body. It attacks our internal organs. It provokes systemic tissue inflammation. We send error logs with critical failures to a hidden folder, hoping they will just disappear, but the hard drive is gradually filling up. One day it will simply burn out from overheating. Being a good, convenient person is literally an inflammatory process. We save face in front of society, but we force our own heart to take the beating for our flawless facade. Good manners turned out to be a totally silent killer. Number 27, evolution in the sink, the era of total disinfection. We maniacally wash our hands with antibacterial soap. We slather them in sanitizer. We want to destroy all 99% of microbes, just like the ads promise. The skin microbiome is sounding the alarm. Colonies of friendly bacteria live on our hands. They shield us from outside attackers. The daily use of triclosan massacres this friendly garrison. The skin is left bare, but what is far worse is the aftermath. The microbes that survive the chemical attack mutate. They exchange resistance genes. We personally, right in our own bathrooms, are breeding superbugs that no antibiotic will ever be able to touch. We deleted our antivirus and opened our ports to elite hackers. We wanted to live in a perfectly sterile bubble, and in reality, we built a training camp for microscopic mutants. Nature will always find a way, and we simply gave it a reason to evolve much faster by wiping out our own line of defense with soapy foam. Number 28, the gravitational guillotine, riding on public transport. We drop our heads down, staring at the smartphone screen, scrolling the feed, reading messages. A very comfortable pose for diving deep into the digital world. The physics of material resistance totally disagree. The weight of an adult human head in an upright position is about 5 kilograms. But as soon as you tilt it forward, the law of leverage kicks in. With a steep tilt, the load on the cervical spine hits 27 kilograms. That is the weight of a small bag of cement. We are literally hanging a cinder block right onto the fragile motherboard of our neck. Spinal discs get squashed flat. Muscles spasm as they desperately try to hold up this falling structure. Early degradation of the cartilage begins. We wonder why our back is falling apart and our fingers go numb by evening. And the truth is, we just forced our skeleton to work like a tower crane. Social media turned out to be a very heavy burden if you calculate it by the laws of mathematical physics. Number 29, hygienic amnesia. A windy day. Our lips are drying out. We pull out lip balm and generously smear it on. It feels soft and comfortable. An hour later, we repeat the procedure. By evening, we have applied the product 10 different times. Dermatology logs a severe software glitch. The skin of our lips has its very own mechanism for moisturizing and renewing cells. By constantly flooding it with wax and petroleum jelly, we send a totally false signal to the receptors. The system decides that there is way too much moisture. The factory settings for producing a protective layer are disabled as unnecessary. The skin literally forgets how to moisturize itself independently. We deleted the auto-update script because we decided to do everything manually. As soon as the balm wears off, the lips crack instantly. We fell into a flawless marketing loop. We bought a product to solve the exact problem that this product created. The cosmetic industry hacked our interface and signed us up for a permanent paid subscription to petroleum jelly. Number 30, thermal insomnia, a winter night. The radiators are blasting at maximum power. We cover ourselves with a thick down blanket. The room is as hot as the tropics. It feels super cozy to fall asleep in such a cocoon. Somnology delivers a very harsh verdict. In order for the brain to plunge into a deep sleep phase, the core body temperature must drop. This is the biological trigger for a reboot. Being in a stuffy, hot room, the body simply cannot cool down. It tries desperately to shed heat. It sweats. The pulse quickens. The processor is overheating right under the woolen blanket. The phase of deep recovery never actually arrives. We sleep, but the system does not clear the cache. The toxins in the brain stay exactly where they are. In the morning, we wake up feeling totally wrecked with a heavy head despite a long night of sleep. We tried to cool the server rack by wrapping it in thick felt. Comfort turned out to be the absolute worst enemy of systemic recovery. The desire to stay warm robbed us of the right to a normal memory firmware update. Number 31. Terry cloth sandpaper. We just washed our face with ice cold water. We grab a stiff, fluffy towel. We start aggressively rubbing our face, scrubbing the cheeks and forehead until the skin squeaks from cleanliness and turns pink. Cosmetologists are crying as they watch this procedure. Facial skin is incredibly thin and elastic. Harsh rubbing completely stretches the collagen and elastin fibers. They do not snap back into place, they just tear. Tiny capillaries burst from the brutal physical pressure. A rosacea web starts to appear. We are taking a fragile touchscreen and trying to wipe it down with a metal dish sponge. The protective barrier is sanded down to 0. We want to look fresh and awake, but in reality, we are pressing the fast forward button on aging with our own 2 hands. We conduct a daily microtrauma procedure, sincerely believing it is making us tougher. A towel is a tool for soaking up water, not a grinding machine for scraping shavings right off your epidermis. Number 32. Dopamine scrolling. We are lying in bed, the lights are off. We tell ourselves we will watch short videos for exactly 5 minutes. The finger habitually swipes up on the screen. Bright images, funny sounds, incredibly fast frame changes. Neurobiology is recording a disaster. Every single new video is a tiny burst of dopamine, the hormone of anticipation. The brain shifts into a state of intense hyperarousal. We are forcing the system to run at maximum RPM when the battery is showing just 1%. Neural connections are overheating. The logic center is totally depleted. Instead of relaxing, we get a massive dopamine hangover. When we finally put the phone down, the overclocked brain demands to continue the banquet. Falling asleep with such a buzzing processor is completely impossible. Social media algorithms gently rock us to sleep while simultaneously burning out our neural fuses. We voluntarily handed the remote control of our sleep over to a soulless line of code sitting somewhere in Silicon Valley. Number 33. Metallic broth. We decided to boil some pasta. To make the process go faster, we turn on the hot water tap and pour it right into the pot. It will start boiling in just a couple of minutes. The time savings are obvious. Plumbing chemistry is preparing a very toxic surprise for us. Hot water from boiler stations is technically aggressive. Passing through old city pipes, it works exactly like a solvent. It actively leaches lead, copper, and rust particles right out of the metal. We are using corrosive acid to speed up the rendering of our dinner. Cold water completely lacks this dissolving power. By pouring scalding water straight from the tap, we are adding heavy metals to our dish. They do not evaporate during boiling. They settle right in our kidneys and liver. We saved 5 minutes of waiting by the stove, and we spent several years filtering scrap metal through our own organs. A brilliant optimization of culinary processes with a fatal outcome for the plumber inside of us. We are closing the doors of our museum of everyday absurdity. As you can see, the matrix is held together by blue duct tape and a prayer. We try to be perfectly efficient, clean, and beautiful, but we regularly trip over our own factory flaws. Nature gave us the most complex biocomputer imaginable, and we stubbornly use it to hammer nails. Our life is an endless beta test with absolutely no right to a final release. But this is exactly where the irony of existence lies. We survive not because of our habits, but completely in spite of them. Write down your fact number 34 in the comments. What other daily routine turned out to be a hidden bug in the system? Share your personal survival experience. And in the meantime, update your drivers, stop slouching in front of your monitor, and always remember, the universe is watching us, and most likely it is doing so with a giant bucket of popcorn in its hands. End of communication session. Data saving is fully complete, exiting the simulation.